Ois Vav, and we were on page Tes Vav of the Mimer, and we were speaking about the idea of, even in Torah itself, there's the idea of kinyan, where the Torah itself needs to be acquired and brought in to the worlds of Kedusha. How so? What does it mean? Torah itself is Kedusha. Earlier in the Mimer, we spoke about Torah being the means for bringing the worlds into Kedusha. And here we're saying that the Torah itself needs to be brought in. So the Rebbe explained that often there's a situation where the Torah itself can be misused. And that is, a person could learn it in a way of for to be able to get covet, to be able to get honor, or for reasons worse than that, lekanter, and so on. And then he has like separated and made the Torah in such a way where it's not fitting in to that idea and the ideal of being a lamai shal Kadosh Baruch Hu. That's his world. It's the Rishus HaYachid. It has to do with Hashem. So, what the way how we ensure and we make sure that we make Torah be acquired to Hashem? So the way to do this is two steps that Rebbe spoke about. One thing is through the davening before learning Torah. That when a person davens in a way of philosophy, and he recognizes and he meditates on the greatness of the Eibishter and so on, and he realizes the truth of all being. So then, when it comes after davening to learning Torah, so then he will be able to not be trapped in this mode of learning, which might chas v'shalom lead him down and learning it in a wrong way. Another thing that the Rebbe said is that Pnimius HaTorah, since it does not engage and deal with physical, mundane matters, it doesn't deal with tainus shel sheker, with different falsehoods and so on. Therefore, it is able to direct him and make sure that even when he's learning Nigla the Torah, the revealed part of the Torah, it should be in such a way where he is able to be connected and retains his connection with Hashem. And not only that, but he's able to use the Torah as a tool of acquisition, to transfer and to connect, even Shamayim v'Aretz, to be one with Elam Shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Now in Ois Vav, we're going to speak about a higher idea of kinyan. We said the essential idea of kinyan is nothing new occurs. Kinyan means that something that was in the seller's domain is now in the buyer's domain. It's only transference of one thing to another place. So in Torah itself, we can talk about the levels where it could be transferred to. Up till now, we were speaking about the world of Atzilus being the world of Kinyan, like it says Baruch, Kainech, Baruch, Baruch, Yotzrech, Isaac. But now we're going to speak about how the Kinyan can be transferred and elevated to higher. Line 13, 11th page of the Mimer, page Tezvav, Oizvav. Yesh Loisip in the Gela clause in Kinyan, we could add concerning the general idea of acquisition. The option is bar le'elsif base, shekoy ala liya loyal matzilus, though it was explained previously in the second chapter that it's going on the ascent to the world of Atzilus. Shazel inyan the baruch kainech, that's the idea of baruch kainech. That since it says it, as we see, there's baruch, yotzrech, isech, that's bri yitzira sira. Baruch kainech is the world of Atzilus, because Atzilus is also a transition. It's going from the concealed state before Atzilus to revealed in Atzilus, just like it's concealed from the buyer when it was in the seller's domain, and now it's revealed to him. But in truth, the koinech, the kinyan, could go even higher. In truth, it goes on an ascent, an elevation to a level that's higher than Atzilus. Idea Mashiach Sayachid, we said that the effect of Kinyan is through drawing it into a private domain. Now, we explained the Yachid is referring to Yichidai Shalaylam, the single one and the only one of the world. So the Rebbe is going to be medayik on the word Yachid specifically. What's the indication and the level that's hinted with the word Yachid? Yachid is specifically the only one, the single one. The level of Yachid is higher than the world of Atzilus. Because Atzilus is the level of Echad that's below Yachid. How is that so? Why is Atzilus Echad that's below Yachid? So he says, the idea behind this is, it's known the difference between the word Echad and the word Yachid. What is the meaning of the word Echad? That there is a division of details. So you have the Echad that we say the Aleph goes on the Lufish Aloilam, the Ches, which is the number 8, goes on the 7 heavens and the earth, and Daled goes on the 4 directions of the compass. So what does Echad tell you? Echad informs you there are so many aspects and components to existence. 7 heavens, the earth, 4 sides of the compass. You see a division, you see detail. But what is the meaning of the word Echad? That despite what it looks like, despite the fact that it may have all these details, in truth, it's one. So that's the meaning of the word Echad. Despite the details, it's one. But that takes meditation, that takes analysis, and so on. Opposed to the word Yachid, it's singular. It has no divisions whatsoever. There's no 8 and the 7 heavens and the 4. It's totally one entity without any type of division. Therefore, Yachid is higher than Atzilus. This difference that we just now said between Echad and Yachid is the difference between the world of Atzilus and higher than Atzilus. The Iniyadu, it's known. Yes, there's 3 levels. Akudim, the Kudim of Rudim. In the sheep that Yaakov Avinu had, in the different colors, and that the sheep came out with the different deals that he made with Lavan. So the Torah says there were those that had like these bands around their legs. That's akudim. And then there was those that were speckled, they were spotted. They had dots on them. That's nikudim. And then there were those that were berudim, that they had like splotches all over their bodies that like mixed into each other. Now, in many Mamor Chassidus, the Nekudim and Brudim are explained a little bit differently than over here. But I'm just going to read it the way it's over here, not confuse the issue. But if you remember a different explanation, don't let it interfere what we're learning here. This is a different approach. So it says, Brudim koy al oilmas pri yitzirasiyah. Brudim refer to the worlds of Pri Yitzirasiyah, that they're in a way of separation, because already the worlds of Pri Yitzirasiyah, they're already created beings. That's word Bria. As soon as you have Bria, that means there's a Boirin, there's a Nivra. There's a creator and a created being. If there's a created being, that's separation. It's not oneness with Hashem. Alma, the worlds of separation, though even in the world of Bri Yitzirasiyah, there's still a certain amount of unity, because their oneness is in such a way that they are bottled to Hashem and they recognize Hashem and so on. The Malachim are serving Hashem in those worlds. We're not talking about complete separation necessarily, but still in all, as soon as you have a creator and a created, that already shows that there's a certain amount of separation. Now, the level higher than that, Minikudim, the level of points, that's or dot, that's Koy al Olam Atzilus. It's referring to the world of Atzilus, Olam Ha'achdus, the world of unity. The Echad, in the world of unity, in the world of Atzilus, both Hashem is one with his life forces and one with his body. So seemingly, it's not a level of division. It's not echad. Echad, we said, shows on ischaltus pratim, on division into details. Here, it doesn't seem to be a division into details because it's saying that it's all one. So he says, despite that, still in all there's an idea of division of the chayoyi, the oidus, how they're miyuchad b'Hashem, versus the body, the kelim, the way they're miyuchad b'Hashem. It's not the same the way the Eibishter is miyuchad with the oidus of the spheres, the way he's miyuchad with the kelim of the spheres. That's why. So it says that's why the Tikkun Zohar divides it into two pieces as Iyu v'chayoy echad, Iyu v'garmoy echad. Could have just said Iyu v'chayoy v'garmoy echad. Why is he divided into two? It's because it's a different type of yichud. So here we already see that there's some aspect of division. Another component of division that we see in Atzilus, Noisilus, in addition to this, Yesh Nagam is Chalkas or less the spheres Chokma Chulu v'Chesed Chulu. That there's still the division of the light into 10 spheres. There's the Oira Chachma, there's the Oira Chesed, and so on. So now we see what the meaning of the word Echad is, how it applies to Atzilus. Echad means that it looks like there's many details, but still it's Echad, it's one. The same thing at Atzilus, it looks like there's 10 different spheres, but still in all it's Echad l'ficha nirgish b'hem sheyesh ad and Echad l'chol spheres, because it's felt in the spheres that there is one master for all the spheres. So we went from Brudim to Nekudim, now up to the level of Akud. Mailam is there who Akudim and higher, this is the world of Akudim. Shekola, Oiris, Klulim, B'Kli Echad, all the lights are included in one vessel. L'loy is Chalkas cloud. That's the meaning of the word Akudim. They're bound up. Instead of being 10 oiris into 10 different kalim, in the world of Akudim, you have all the 10 oiris bound up in one kali. Loy is Chalkas cloud without a division whatsoever. Shazel in the Yachid Shalamaylam Echad. That's the idea of Yachid beyond Echad. Therefore, coming back to what we were saying before, that the idea of Kinyan is drawing into a domain of Yachid. So it's not just enough that we're drawing in the things to the world of Atzilus, which is the world of Kinyan, but we're drawing it up even higher to Akudim, to higher than Atzilus, where it's a level of Yachid. They're saying, and this understood as a true idea of acquisition, and that's the elevation to Rishus HaYachid. Yachid Shalamaylam Echad, the level of Yachid that's beyond Echad. Atzilus is referring to an ascent and an elevation to a level as beyond the world of Atzilus. That's the true idea that we say. Right after saying Torah Kinyan Echad, we say Shemayim va'aretz Kinyan Echad. What does that mean? That the heavens and earth, we have to make it and transfer it and unite it with Hashem, but to what level of godliness? Not only do we elevate it to the world of Atzilus, that Shemayim va'aretz Kinyan Echad, meaning we're drawing it up even to a level higher than Atzilus. Explained in a different place. The true idea of home for the Eibishter below, that should be also the revelation that's higher than Atzilus. So therefore, it's not just enough to have Shemayim v'aretz Kinyan Echad to the world of Kinyan, to the world of Baruch Koinech, which is the world of Atzilus, but it's necessary to reach even higher. Now getting back to Torah, that we're talking about, that Torah is not just the means of the Kinyan, but it's also what is going through the Kinyan, like in the simple reading of the Mishnah, that Torah is one of the things that he acquired, that he brought up higher. What level are we bringing the Torah up to? That's also concerning where it says that Torah is one of Hashem's Kinyanim. Inyan Kinyan hu lahal Torah l'darga shalamal matzilus. The idea of Kinyan is to elevate the Torah to a level it's higher than Atzilus. Inyan do mashakasa because the Arizal it's known what's written in the Arizal's writing. The Pirish val Torah's chashalimaton. The Arizal explains the phrase that we have in benching. It says, and we're thanking Hashem for your Torah that you taught us. So the Arizal explains like this: when we talk about the Torah being yours, belonging to Hashem, Koi ala Torah kifi shehi ba'atzilus, top of page Yud Zayin. It's referring to the Torah the way it's in the world of Atzilus. V'zel al Torahscha shebel Atzilus shemlimaraton. That's what it means on your Torah. It's not Atzilus that you taught us. What does it mean? You taught us Bibriya, in the world of Bria. So we, as created beings, we are from the world of Bria and down. Torahscha, your Torah, that's Torah the way it's miyuchid with the Eibishter. That's like in the Chachma of Atzilus, Chachma Seyachad, that goes on the Torah, it's not Atzilus. But then, when we're learning Torah, it now becomes a lower level, it becomes a level of the world of Bria. So he says, Hainu Torah Shalom, we Torah the Bria, our Torah. That's what means Shalim Tanu that you taught us is the Torah of Bria. The rumors Gamakaf, like it's also hinted in the fact. The famous question or the famous idea that's brought on Chassidus and Kabbalah, why does the Torah begin with the letter Beis, Bereshis? So the idea of the letter Beis indicates this concept of the Torah coming all the way down to the world of Bria. It's the second tier, the second level, not the world of Atzilus, it's the world of Bria. Maybe also Beis. And like he says, Rosh Tevis Bria, like it's the first letter of the word Bria. So now, once we know that our Torah is the Torah of Bria, the Torah of Hashem, Torah is the world of Atzilus. So what goes on with the Torah Kinyan Echad? The Torah Kinyan Echad, the explanation that Torah is one Kinyan is Gam HaTorah Shalom B'Bria. Also, our Torah that's in Bria, V'ad K'moshe Yard Below Mata B'Yoser. Even the Torah, the way it descended very much below. Like we said before, L'Mitzrayim Yeradatem, Torah descended to those that descended into Mitzrayim, and because of that, it's liable to be misused and so on, because it's dealing with things of this world and it's dealing with matters of falsehood and so on. Still and all, even though the Torah descended so low, still and all, this Allah Lamaila will rise up above Loirak Ladargis Atzilus, not just that will rise up back to the world of Atzilus. Torah, your Torah, which the Arizal explained, is the level of Torah that Shabbat Atzilus, that's not Atzilus. Elagam Ladargis Atzilus, it will go up even to a level that's higher than Atzilus. That's the level that we said before, the level of Akudim, the level of Yachid. That is the level of the Kinyan, not just that the world, that Shamayim Va'aretz are going to go up to the level of Yachid, which is higher than Atzilus, but Torah itself, which begins from Atzilus, will now be elevated, will now go through a process of Kinyan acquisition and go up to the Yachid to the level of higher than Atzilus. Al-Zen Nemar, concerning this, it says, David Mechaber Torah Shalamayla B'Akadosh Baruch. This is the very famous statement in the Sefer HaBoyer that it says that David HaMelech would join the Torah of above with the Eibush, which is really, if we it's brought down in a lot of Amorich Chassidus, which is really in a way a strange thing. What does it mean that the Torah, especially Torah of above, needs to be joined with Hashem? What does it mean it has to be joined with Hashem? The Torah, the way it's above, the Torah, the way it's above, is joined with Hashem. What does that mean that he has to join with Hashem? So he says like this. Well, he says, Hainun, Torah Shalamayla, the Torah of above, Torah Shabbat Tzilus, the level of your Torah that's not Tzilus. David Mechaber, Bakadosh Baruch Hu, David would join with the Eibush. What is the level of HaKadosh Baruch Hu referring to? Bechinas Ein Sof Shalamaylam Atzilus, the level of Ein Sof that's higher than Atzilus. That is the idea of kin. Question is, how is that done? How could, if the Torah already started off at a very high place, how is it possible to bring it even higher? What gives us the capability and the power to be able to accomplish that? So the Rebbe introduces a new thing. It's through the power of David HaMelech. What was David HaMelech? What would the David HaMelech stand for and represent? He represented the idea of bittul and Kabbalah soil. And with that level, we're able to raise up Torah from Atzilus to even higher than Atzilus. He says in line 13, this is accomplished specifically through David, that his avodah was specifically in a way of Kabbalah's oil. We know this explains David is the level of Sfiras Malchus, the level of bittul, Maklum, Shavisi Demamti, that it was completely bittul Tashem. It says, in the Chazal say, it says in Tilim, Neum David ben Yishai, so says David ben Yishai, Neum Hagever Hukam Ol. This is what it was said by the man that raised up the yoke. What does this mean that he raised up the yoke? What's it talking? I'm sorry, it's not a pasuk in Tilim, it's a pasuk in Shmuel. That he raised up the yoke. So the Chazal explained, Neum David ben Yishai, this is what David ben Yishai said, that was Shohekim Ula Shal Tshuva, that he raised up the yoke of Tshuva. I think part of it is connected with what he did Tshuva on the situation when over the Bathsheba and so on. But Kibbul of oil Torah of oil mitzvahs, he accepted upon himself. Other Mefarshim explain the yoke of Torah mitzvahs. That's how they explain Hukam Ol. So in other words, it's not just limited to that. It's the yoke of Tshuva, the yoke of Torah, the yoke of mitzvahs, all of it. But the emphasis over here that Rebbe is saying is oil da, specifically a yoke. What's the idea of a yoke? When you put a yoke on an animal, it's not from their own will and desire. It's a matter of bit. That's the idea of self-sacrifice and the bittul. And when do we reach that? So we said earlier that to be able to ensure that Torah doesn't become lowered and that he doesn't learn it lishma and he learns it for negative reasons and so on, it needs to be preceded by davening. This hukam ol that we're talking about, this bittul of David HaMelech, that is caused through davening. That's the Mesiras Nefesh and bittul. That's the service of davening that comes before Torah study. Like we explained earlier in Ois Hay of the Maimer, that Ab bin Yamin daven, that his davening should be close to his bed, that he should daven before learning Torah, because through davening before learning Torah, he ensures that his Torah does not have a yerida, just the opposite, it rises up. Days in Nasa, king the Torah, through that becomes the acquisition of Torah, Halas Torah Shalamata, to elevate the Torah down here below, to join with Hashem. Bechinas Ein Sof Shalamaylam Atzilus, the infinite level that's higher than Atzilus. Bechinas Yochid, the level of Yochid. So that is concerning Torah. But the truth is, he said that Kinyan is Meshicha, and Meshicha, growing it, goes into Shusay Yochid. So then that applies by every time we use the word Kinyan. It's not just Kinyan by Torah. It's all the other kinyanim, Shemayim Va'aretz, Abraham, Yisrael, Beis HaMikdash, all of these things have to be raised to the level of Yochid, not just Atzilus. That's the Rebbe concludes in line 23. So too concerning the other acquisition. Adla Beis HaMikdash Kinyanecha. Until even the Beis HaMikdash, which is Kinyanecha, the last of the 5 kinyanim enumerated, the Koyal B'chinas HaMalchus, we said before, we said in Sivdal, that Beis HaMikdash is going on the level of Malchus, because it says Shechanti B'soicham, the level of Shechina, that's Malchus. The effect of the Kinyan is not just that the Malchus, the way it descended in this world, should be elevated and brought back up to Malchus Datzilus, but even more so, it should go to the level of Yochid, Alagam, the B'chiras Malchus, but we're raising it up also to the level of Malchus of the Eibishter, of the infinite Malchus that's beyond Datzilus, B'chiras Yochid, the level of Yochid. Let's just learn the conclusion, see the end of the Maimer, Zayin. This is the content of the general statement of the Chazal. The 5 acquisitions Hashem acquired in this world that should get called in Yoni HaTorah Lashon Hara, like all matters of Torah. Torah is from the word lesson and teaching. Harigam Maimer Zeh, also this statement of the Chazal and Pirkei Avos, who it is Loi Sipur Dvarim Ba'alma. It's not just relating a story that Hashem acquired these 5 things. It's a lesson to every single Yid. So these 5 acquisitions should be in the world of Hashem. So there needs to be the effect of acquisition. There has to be Kana Kadosh Baruch Hu Daika. Specifically, Hashem acquires it, meaning that Hashem, it needs to be brought into the world of Hashem. It needs to be transferred to His domain. How does that happen? After this occurs, and happens specifically through the avoid of Yidden, like was explained before in Siv Gimel. All matters the way they were created by the Eibishter. Hashem created them in such a way that we still need to fix it up. It still needs elevation, repair, beautification. And this repair is dependent specifically on the avoid of Yid. Through their avoid, they elevate all matters to the private domain. The level of Yachid that's beyond Atzilus. And how is that accomplished? How do we have that power to be able to elevate it so high? And this power was given to every single Yid. Like it's brought down there in the Medrash. Every single Yid is able to say, every Yid can say, when will my actions reach the level of the actions of my forefathers, Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov? Meaning, from the capability of every single Yid, the Varer is to refine his portion of the world, to elevate it to the private domain of the Eibishter. Through that, to fulfill the purpose that Hashem desired to have a home down here below. Any questions?